Hello, and welcome to this late morning, mid-morning taste challenge, depending where you live. Mid-morning taste challenge. I have two 40% alcohol bourbon whiskeys. This is Heaven Hill Old Style Bourbon, introduced in 1937. Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey, Sour Mash Bourbon Whiskey, charcoal mellowed before bottling, just like Jack Daniels, but that's actually charcoal mellowed before they even age it. But anyway, they use the term charcoal filtering. Custom made mash. They have their own mash. You see that copper appearance, amber honey appearance, something like that. This liter bottle was purchased in Texarkana, Arkansas for $11.99 3 years ago. Amazing, isn't it? Aged 3 years. Here is Jesse James American Outlaw Bourbon Whiskey, introduced in 2011. Now, some of y'all have been watching this channel, and you'll notice I have a lot of off-the-grid bourbon whiskeys, some kind of odd products. First Taste of Freedom, produced by Jesse James Dupree, bottled in California. This is a 2-year-old whiskey. This whiskey is at least 24 months old, bottled by Jesse James Distilling, Mira Loma, California. 1 liter bottle. Both of these are liter bottles. They're both 80 proof. The Heaven Hill, like I said, $11.99. The Jesse James Dupree, America's Outlaw Bourbon Whiskey, if you can believe it, $7.99. True story, $7.99. An amazing price. The regular price for the standard bottle, not the liter, the regular price for the standard bottle is $18. Doesn't claim to be sour mash, doesn't talk about charcoal mellowing. It just says bourbon. Doesn't even claim to be straight bourbon. Most likely because they're using bourbons from various states and they're blending them together, like whatever they bought on auction. Let's see. Well, old time charcoal mellowed. So they're both charcoal mellowed or filtered and aged in oak cask to achieve an incredibly smooth, full bourbon character. That makes this one of the finest whiskeys. Well, I don't know about all that. Jesse James, in loving memory, an American outlaw murdered by a traitor and coward whose name is not worthy to appear here. And it says 1847 to 1882. Okay. So I'm going to add that. They're both charcoal filtered. Says here, made in Bardstown, Kentucky, the heart of bourbon country, Heaven Hill Old Style Bourbon is named for the spring that ran through the distillery grounds. This spring originally provided the pure limestone water used to produce this fine bourbon. Today, Heaven Hill Old Style Bourbon continues its legacy as a fine Kentucky bourbon, genuine. Established shortly after Prohibition, Heaven Hill Old Style Bourbon is a genuine sour mash whiskey. It is produced using a time-proven method by 6th and 7th generation master distillers whose craft has been passed on from generation to generation. Charcoal filtered just prior to bottling, this bourbon is known for its smooth yet mild and mellow flavor. Custom-made mash. It's been rebranded. It's no longer called Heaven Hill. It's called Quality House, but everything else is the same. The label changed, but it's called Quality House Old Style Bourbon. Still 80 proof, still aged 3 years, still charcoal filtered, still sour mash bourbon. Don't know if I can find it in Louisiana. I'll keep my eyes open for that. I've never seen it in Louisiana, but we do get Quality House Kentucky blended whiskey. We get, now they call it Quality House Premium. We do get Quality House Premium Kentucky blended whiskey with natural flavors. We do get that. But I haven't seen the straight bourbon, but it might be around. Let's see. Let me update my notes here. Both are 80 proof, charcoal filtered. charcoal filtered bourbon whiskeys. What's the temperature outside now? 70 degrees. Wow, I can't believe it. I'll be taking this sweatshirt off soon. And the sun is out. It's clear. It was so dreary. Okay, here for the last few days, so dreary and cloudy, overcast, yucky looking. Here is the always drink upstream from the herd. Good idea. There's Jesse James Dupree shining down on me. And he's got all this write up. The spirits he sells, spirits, all kind of other things. The original Jesse James bourbon whiskey, made in the spirit of America's old time charcoal mellowed, aged in oak cask for a minimum of 6 months. But my bottle says 24, so something's off here. They're saying 36. We get a 24 month. So maybe its standard is 3-year age, but we're getting a 2-year age for some reason. Incredibly smooth, full bourbon character for the outlaw in you. And they also make barrel strength, Tennessee whiskey. Oh, that's the one I have, bourbon. And some flavors, spiced and honey and devil, cinnamon. They the whole lineup like all the companies do. It's all contract. Here's the single barrel Tennessee whiskey. Who's doing this for them? I don't know. It might be auctioned. It might be whiskey that they just buy on auction at these whiskey auctions and bring it to California and bottle it. Whatever whiskey meets their specs. Wouldn't much matter. It tastes good. It tastes good. Well, guess it tastes good. Okay. I'm not going to complain too much for $7.99 a liter. Oh boy, here we go. Good. Go back to sleep. She was getting really exhausted because she was going totally berserk earlier. If you watched my earlier video, totally disrupted the video. Couldn't get much going. She was so wild. I mean, I could concentrate, but it was difficult, because she was trying to get behind here, behind there, and go to she was going for the wires. And I was like, no. Don't touch the wires, because she'll chew on them like a rat. Chew on a rat, not wires. But she ran wild, and she got so exhausted from running that she's out now. I mean, she's still growing, so she doesn't. A lot of her energy goes toward growing. She's gotten twice the size or more than that since I got her. Rescued her from the car wash. Okay, so these are both. Yeah, I know I put a little too much. I'm wasting it. They're both amber. They're not really, well, they're kind of copper. Yeah, amber to copper, between amber and copper. It's hard to get these pours straight, but I hate wasting. Oh, I hate to waste it. Okay. On the other hand, I do have 18 unopened bottles, so it would be nice to get through this in the next 2 decades. What can I say? It smells like regular old bourbon. Sour mash, which means it smells like a sourdough bagel. Cornbread, or really popcorn without the salt. But less of it. Okay, I saw people waiting in line this morning at 6 o'clock in front of a grocery store here that, because in Louisiana, grocery stores can sell liquor. They said one man camped out overnight in a tent uh, because they were having a special bourbon sale. E.H. Taylor, 3 different variants, Blanton's, Eagle Rare, Stag, George T. Stag, and some other stuff. And it was, if you buy it, I don't even know if they had a limit. It was just like, your limit is whatever you want to pay. First in line, buy what you want. And when it's gone, it's gone. So they had a lot of Blantons. $80, $79.99. I'm like, oh, I remember when Blanton's was $55.99. $55.99. Oh no, I like Blanton's. I don't like it that much. I got a kick out of that. I was telling a guy, I was like, can you believe these people are waiting in line for this? He's like, yeah, my wife's in the line. I said, your wife's in the line? Yeah. Christmas gifts. I said, well, okay. He said, I got Wild Turkey in the freezer. That's what I drink. Wild Turkey 101. Good choice. You can get it for like $23. You don't have to wait in line. But anyway, I'm not disparaging that. It's a hobby, you know. My daddy on the phone, my father on the phone was like, man, that must be some real alcoholics. I said, they're not alcoholics because they wouldn't be waiting in a line all night for specialty bourbon. An alcoholic is going to go to the corner store and buy the cheap vodka for $4.99 a bottle or $5.99. You know, they're not going to, a true alcoholic not going to wait in line for no bourbon. You're going straight for the Crystal Palace. Actually, I've tried Crystal Palace gin. It wasn't bad. And it has a history too, going back to 1934, interestingly. But anyway, this is very sweet. What do you expect? It's bourbon. To me, bourbon tastes like sugar water. Would I wait in line at 5:30 in the morning for sugar water? No. I like bourbon, but I'm telling you what it tastes like to me. And I've heard other people say this on videos. I'm not alone. Yeah. Maybe that one hit. They're both sugary. Oh, how sugary. Light to medium body. They're both light to medium body, not heavy body by any stretch of the imagination. They finished mostly dry, though. Got to give it that credit. Charcoal. Yeah, you get charred oak. You get the charcoal. Whoops. Label out. You get the charcoal, but to say they're heavily charred would be incorrect. Now, that's what helped me, even with this kitten distracting me this morning. There she is right there. Distracting me this morning. I was able to tell Jim Beam Black versus this regular whiskey because the Jim Beam Black was so heavily roasted. You see, that heavy roast tipped me off. I was like, uh-oh, I know what it is. That wasn't too difficult. This one is sort of difficult. Are these both pretty regular? Yeah, they're pretty regular. Are they both inexpensive? Yeah, $11.99 for the liter. I paid that. $7.99 for the liter. That was my price. Both probably you'll never see those prices, but I did, and I'm telling you. Are they both very delicious? Yes. So, question: can you buy a delicious bourbon, straight bourbon, for $11.99 a liter? Yeah, I did. Can you buy a very delicious regular bourbon, doesn't say straight, for $7.99 a liter? I did. Never saw it again for that price. Next time I saw it, it was like, you know, a regular price, like $17.99. But for $7.50, not a liter. But so you say, well, it's not straight bourbon, so does it have flavoring and coloring added? Absolutely not. It definitely has no coloring or flavoring. What you see here is the true color. Come shining through. So don't be afraid. No, the reason they can't call it straight is because I think it's bourbons blended from different states. It might be like Kentucky bourbon blended with Indiana bourbon on an Indiana night, but that's cool. But the final outcome, 2-year age versus 3-year age, charcoal filtered versus charcoal filtered. Oh, charcoal filtered versus charcoal filtered versus charcoal mellowed. Two different words for the same thing. One is sour mash. One does not make that claim, so that means it isn't, because they always tout that when it is. Honestly, they're not really different. And so would I dream of paying $4 more for the Heaven Hill in this case? Absolutely not. I'll save the $4 and get the Jesse James. Now, when people come over to my house, they'll say, Jesse James, what is this off-brand? And then I would have to tell the whole story again. Well, I went to Savannah Discount. I was in Marrero, and they had it on a display. It was $7.99. But they got some people, they're goofy. You know, some people is goofy. They'll be like, Heaven Hill, what kind of off-brand is that? And before I could finish saying it, they'd be like, I drink real bourbon. I drink Elijah Craig. I drink Larceny. I drink Old Fitzgerald. I would never lower myself to drinking some off-brand like Heaven Hill. I drink real bourbon. I'm 40. I'm a man. Or I'm sorry, I'm a man. I'm 40. And I'll be like, okay, so you wouldn't drink Heaven Hill. Oh, and I drink Henry McKenna. I was like, well, good for you. But they don't know my little secret, because I am a 37th degree master. Well, I can't say too much, but it's yeah, never mind. Disregard that last statement. I don't need the Sea Lodge. I don't need the Sea Lodge Hall coming after me, putting bricks in my pocket, hanging me from the bridge up to above my neck. No, we won't talk about the Sea Lodge Hall. But anyway, if you want to get techno, I like both of these. No, they're not going to win a popularity contest. No, they're not going to win a widely available contest. But they win the price contest. You say, now you might be watching and you saying, oh, well, you know what about you? Do you have any more of those off-brands? See, I don't like to use the word off-brand, because the implication is that it's no good. And my answer would be, yeah, I do have some bourbon whiskeys from independent, family-owned bourbon companies, if that's what you're trying to say. I have some oddities coming up, like Jepson's, like Gooderham and Wirtz. That's a mouthful, huh? Gooderham and Wirtz. That's why they shorten it to G&W on the label, G&W. But it's Gooderham and Wirtz. Bottled in New Jersey, and nothing says bourbon like New Jersey, right? But it's a real company. Well, let me clarify that. It was a real company, and it did go back to the 1800s, and it was big at one time. Like Sears used to be big. Remember, Sears was big at one time. Singer sewing machines was big at one time. The Osmonds were big at one time. And yes, I did watch Donnie and Marie. But I have some of these oddities. But yeah, it's interesting to read about G&W, because that whole history is like choppy. It's like they did this, and then that got bought out, and then they traded to this, and then this guy went, and this one went. But then they had this huge distillery in Canada, And apparently it's still open, but it has a different name. I think it's called Old Montreal Distillery now. But you know how that works. But so the Carpenters, they were big at one time. Captain and Tennille, yep, Captain and Tennille. Love Will Keep Us Together. Well, didn't really work, but Love Will Keep Us Together. Written by Neil Sedaka, I might add. The genius that he is. The Carpenters, yep. Rainy days and Mondays always do bring me down. But long ago, oh, so far away. Seals and Croft, yeah, okay. We can go on and on and on till the break of dawn. But Jefferson Starship. Anyway, I saw Bachman Turner Overdrive live in Baton Rouge, and don't be jealous. And I was on the fourth row. How you feel? I know you're jealous. Psychedelic, yeah. I know you're jealous. But anyway, if I was riding that train high on, yeah, these are nice. Now, I think, however, I think this is the Jesse James. It's a little less like aged, but honestly, in a practical sense, they're about the same. So I would just shop price. I would really literally save the $4, but I'm glad I bought both because both time I saw these, I was like, "Whoa, what is that?" I got it right. I'm a genius. I'm the greatest liquor taster in the world until I get it wrong, and then I'll make an excuse. Like the kitten was bothering me, or it was too humid outside, or the president got me nervous. I'll make an excuse. If I get it right, it's because I'm a good taster. So this is the program I use. This is my format. If I get it correct, it's because I'm a great taster. If I get it wrong, it's an it's an exterior reason. And either way, you can't lose. I saw the Grateful Dead. Oh well, never mind. Somebody just played me up like a fool. I saw the Grateful Dead in 1978 at the Philadelphia Spectrum. Or am I jealous? Um, and then Donna Jean Gottschall. Uh, why did I say that name? Um, okay. Get it together. All right. If this state, they're gonna pick me up at Terrapin Station, but about okay. The way I feel right now, I wish I was a headlight on a northbound train. I ain't even kidding. All right, with Keith and no pig. Why are you doing this to me? All right. Anyway, but as a comic, in all seriousness, I like both, and I'd recommend it. Nah, it's not broken. It's just a little nervous from the fall. All right, y'all take care. And remember, do not stop on the tracks.